Welcome to Sailor Vlogs, and I'm pissed off. First episode of Sailor Moon Crystal, and I have to deal with the worst thing ever. I thought these subtitles were primitive. Nope. Hulu does one-up black bar subtitles. That's right. The console versions, for some reason, would not stop being stupid. All the subtitles on console versions are black box subtitles on a time delay, because the system has to basically process them. No, you don't do that! You don't give me subtitle options from 1994 in 2014! It is 20 years later! The world has evolved since then! We do no longer play games on cartridges, we play them on CDs and Blu-rays and everything else! I guess what I'm saying is, I had to watch it on my laptop. So what did I think? It was the first episode of the series. That's it. It's basically just a remake of the first episode of Sailor Moon. And I'm not being mean by that. I mean, I'm just saying that's what it is. There's nothing else to say about it. That's like saying, what did I think of Final Fantasy VII, the remake? It's Final Fantasy VII's opening scene again. That's all it was, just done with an HD overlay. What about the episode itself? It was voice acted competently. Voice acting was really good. I like how they're trying to sound like the original voices of the Japanese dub. But I'm a little pissed off that I had to watch this on my laptop because I didn't get to see it in full HD, which I did get to see it while I was doing the episode on the consoles before I shut those off in Rage. They looked nice in HD, so I'm hoping they'll fix the subtitle issue when the second episode debuts. Next thing I like, the animation's good. I like some of the redesigns. I'll answer it later. The redesigns are really good, but who is in charge of the legs? Who decided the legs have to go here, the body here, and the head here? The legs now accompany maybe half of the body now. And before anyone says anything, the legs usually accompany half the body in a design anyway. But these things seem to take over the body. They have taken over the body. The body is now 75% leg, 20% torso, and 5% head. Did no one look at the designs before they decided this? Before this was okayed? Because the legs are huge. Someone obviously has a leg fetish. Or they're really in love with Chun-Li from Street Fighter. What about some of the redesigns? Well, Sailor Moon looks a lot more closer to the manga than she did in the original series. The original 90s anime, which I think is a really good plus. I mean, it's based off it's a popular manga. Why wouldn't you base it more off the manga designs than the characters from a 90s anime? But I really dislike the CGI transformation. I'm sorry, I'm an old school kid. I hate CGI transformations. This is kind of explains why I don't like the new Cybermen look. It's too, I guess the best way to describe it, too industrial. I mean, the old schools looked futuristic, awesome, disturbing, especially when you got to the 80s and the 1978 Invasion version and the 1980 Earthshock versions. Damn. The new Cybermen just look too committee designed. I guess that's the best way to describe it. But anyway, there were some pretty cool things. Like, it explains why it shows the victims coming back to the shop after being summoned, which is something I think is really cool because when they did the original in the Japanese version, I'm saying Japanese version, but in the 90s anime, they were all still in the building. I'm like, why are they all still there? And it gets better as we go on. But my biggest problem is this is basically just the same episode. There's just more crammed in. They're trying to fit more character introduction into this one. They introduce the guy from the arcade. I forgot his name. They introduce Haruno. They introduce Usagi's mother, Umino, Naru. Luna. They even squeeze Amy at the end. And Sailor Mercury's at the end. But it feels rushed, but at the same time, there's too much going on. But that doesn't make sense in some ways, shapes, or forms. Why does it feel like too much is going on? Because there is too much going on. We have Sailor Moon coming in on one end. We have the introduction. We have the Silver Millennium subplot coming in at the beginning with this huge intro. Incidentally, the intro goes for about 3 minutes of a 24-minute episode. I think I'm including the opening theme. I might be wrong, but if I'm not, I am. That means this intro goes to like 4 to 5 minutes. I hope they don't include that stupid thing at the beginning of the next episode, because it took almost 2 minutes of my time. That was 2 minutes they could have added for development. There's not a lot of character development in this episode. We introduced to the basics of Usagi, but not Naru. We're introduced to the basics of Usagi, but not Luna. Not her mother. Not anyone. I mean, this is a 24-episode series that is going to try to focus more on cutting out the filler. But that doesn't mean you have to sacrifice character development. Because that's something the other series actually did good with its filler. We had character development with Naru, Umino, even Usagi's mom and the arcade manager. We had character development. That's something I'm afraid is not going to be put into this new series now. By sacrificing a lot of the filler, they're going to sacrifice character development. We need the character development so we can care about characters who get hurt. We'll care about the main characters, but not the side characters. You can't just tell me not to care about the Turks in Final Fantasy VII, despite the fact that they don't try to kill you in Wu Tai. They say, we're on vacation. Screw you! And, oh god, that's a good analogy, actually. The side characters feel like they'll never come back, but they introduce every character. They make them sound important, and that's all we get. We get a base description, who they are, and what they look like. This is Naru. She's Usagi's best friend. I guess that's all our character motivation. She's a best friend. This is her teacher. Okay, I guess we have to care because she's her teacher. You can't just tell us to care, because by not telling us any information about these characters, we don't care. We won't care if they show up again, because we have no motivation to care. Think about if this was happening with another franchise. Take Ranma, for example. They're never going to remake Ranma. They're never going to make another live-action series. I hope to God someone's listening, because I want a live-action Ranma again. But they worked so hard in the time frames. They had 7 seasons. They made every character work. They made him work for the camera. Even one-off characters worked. Tsubasa owned his episode, despite we never seeing him again in the series or even the manga. Each side character was important, and we made us care. But by not having enough character development, we're not going to care about the characters. We only get 24 episodes, Toei. We need the character development from other characters. If you weren't going to give us the character development, you should just cut the character out or not have them at all. I understand there's not a lot of character development in the manga, but an anime is different. You need to have more. If we're only going to see those characters once or twice and they're not involved in the plot, then we don't care what happens to them. We never see Naru again after a few acts in the manga. But you know what? We saw her a lot in the first season of Sailor Moon in the Japanese original in the 90s. We saw her a lot. She was a focal point in the 90s version. She was in more episodes than Sailor Mercury, I believe, at the time. She had even a whole set of episodes dedicated to her love to Nephrite. But then again, you're going to cut that out too. That's what I'm saying. I'm afraid a lot of character development is going to be sacrificed for a time constraint. We have 2 minutes dedicated to the opening at this. Let's take it like this. We're going to have 1 minute dedicated for the opening theme, and another minute dedicated for the ending theme. That's 2 minutes of a 24-minute episode cut out. In that 22 minutes, you have to give us character development, story plot, and an enemy battle scene, and you have to make it work. Because if you do not make it work, then there's no point at all in trying to give it your all. Sailor Moon should give it its all. either they should have focused on seeing if this series would work for this generation, and then try to do a second series focusing on the Dark Kingdom aftermath. Then we would have gotten care. We would have started caring. But instead, we're going to rush this arc, which had only 13 arcs in the manga, but it was given 48 episodes to breathe, expand, and fill out. Will I say a lot of the filler needs to be cut out of the original? Yes. Should I cut all the filler out? No, because that filler is character development. It is character development that is vital to the characters in the series. Sailor Moon's manga had the ability to actually make us care about its characters because we had enough time with them. But if we don't have enough time with them in this anime, then we're not gonna care if someone dies. If someone gets their head cut off, I'm gonna say, oh, background character's dead. Instead of, oh my god, that guy is dead! I'm not gonna care if Rumino somehow gets his head blown off by Morgan Ainsley from Darkstalkers, because I won't know anything about him. I won't know his motivations. I won't know him in general. It gets worse when I realize that although the animation looks pretty, I can't really recommend the first episode because it's just a rehash of the first episode of Sailor Moon original and the first part of the manga. It is the same thing we've seen twice before. Three times if you include the live action. But at least the live action cut out a few characters and at least figured out a way to work. Oh my god, I'm praising the live action. I officially hate this episode. So just watch the episode on Hulu, on the internet, until they fix the subtitles. Make your own decision, but as far as I'm concerned, the first episode can kiss my ass until there's a dub. I guess you can call me Sailor D. I'm Sailor Dave. Catch you next time. I need a drink.